If you're watching this, it means you made it to question 25, and now you are going to get to hear all the answers to these questions. So as we're going through, feel free to pause this video and go up and check your answers and make sure you have the correct answer chosen, and then you can hear the reasons why. Number 1, an ice cube is placed in the sun. Later, there's a puddle of water. Later still, the puddle has evaporated. So this is an ice cube of water, H2O. We put it out in the sun, it melts, turns into liquid water, which is still H2O, and then it evaporates and turns into a gas version of water, which is still H2O. Is that a physical or a chemical change? That is a physical change. Number 2 says 2 chemicals are mixed together and a gas is produced. If we look at Cool Guys Love Their Phones, gas being produced is the guys or gals part of our Cool Guys Love Their Phones, and we know that that means there must be a chemical change. So there is chemical change is the answer. A bicycle changes color as it rusts. So rust is a chemical change. You have a color change, and then all the things to do with rust change from being a metal. So let's see, if you have ever been around rust, you've probably noticed the color of it is really red. And if you were to kind of break off a little flake of rust, you would find that, normally metal, we can bend it and it's okay. With this rust, if you try to bend it, it doesn't bend, it just breaks. And if we were to hook that up, a little piece of rust in a circuit like we did with our metals, nonmetals, metalloids lab, to test it and see if it was a conductor or an insulator, we would find that rust is actually an insulator. So there has been a serious chemical change happen, and that metal turning into rust, it is not metal anymore. You have a chemical change because you have a brand new substance. Number 4 says a solid is crushed into a powder. So do you have a new substance? No, you just have a different size of the substance. It went from being a solid into being little pieces of powder. So that's a physical change. Number 5, 2 substances are mixed together and light is produced. Well, light being produced is the love part of Cool Guys Love Their Phones. We know that must be a chemical change. A piece of ice melts and reacts with sodium. So if ice is reacting to sodium, you have to have some kind of chemical reaction there. So this is a chemical change. Chocolate syrup dissolved into milk. Now this one gets kids all the time, and that's okay because we're going to talk about it. So chocolate syrup being dissolved into milk. You now have chocolate milk. Is it a new substance? No, because you still just have chocolate and you have milk. All you've done is made a mixture and mixed the two together. You don't have something that's new. If you evaporated the milk, you could get the chocolate back out of there. You could get the water out of there, and then you'd end up with some kind of gooey stuff at the bottom that's actually the milk part. Anyway, but it is a physical change, okay? Chocolate syrup being dissolved into milk is a physical change. You still just have chocolate and you have milk. Marshmallows toasted over a campfire. So anytime you think of things being cooked, toasted, burnt, you have to have a chemical change because you have gases being released. Things are floating up in the air. You're getting a whole new substance. The marshmallow is not just a regular marshmallow anymore. Now it's a cooked marshmallow. That's not reversible. You can't uncook a marshmallow once it's been cooked. We have a chemical change right there. Here's another one. We've got frying a hamburger. Can you get raw meat back out of a hamburger once it's been cooked? Can you turn it back into not cooked meat? No. You have a chemical change. A student removes a loaf of bread hot from the oven. The student cuts a slice of bread and then puts butter on it. Okay, got a couple steps to this one. We have bread. He cuts the bread. He sliced it. Is it still bread? Yes, it's still bread. If he puts butter on the bread, what do we have? We've just got butter on bread. You don't have a new substance. You just have bread and butter, one on top of the other one. So here we have a physical change because we don't have something new. Number 11 says your friend decides to toast a piece of bread, but leaves it in the toaster too long. The bread is black and the kitchen is full of smoke. That's terrible. I hate it when that happens. Okay, we've burnt the toast. This goes back into cooking things. You know that gas has been released if your house is full of smoke. That's one of the cool guys love their phones. Can we get burnt bread back into not burnt bread once it's been burned? We sure cannot. So it's not reversible. You have a chemical change. Number 12, you forgot to dry the bread knife when you washed it, and reddish brown spots of rust appear on it. You have a chemical change. That's right. Any kind of rust is going to be a chemical change. You can't get that back. You can rub it off, you can scrape it off, you can sand it off, but you can't change that rust back into metal. Baking biscuits and other quick breads, the baking powder reacts to release carbon dioxide bubbles. The carbon dioxide bubbles cause the dough to rise. Okay, we've got bubbles, we've got gas being released, we have a chemical change. You blow dry your wet hair. You have a physical change. You're evaporating the water in your hair. It was a liquid, then you blow it dry, it evaporates and turns into the gas form of water vapor, but it's still H2O, it's still water. Number 15 says when baking soda is added to vinegar, bubbling occurs as CO2 forms. You have a chemical change. Bubbling occurs. Gases form. Cool guys love your phones. We've got gas being released. That's a chemical change. Adding food coloring to water. Now this is a physical change because you just mix the two together. You can separate them back out. It might be a little bit of work, but if you boiled your water down, you would have your color left over at the bottom of your pan. So adding food color to water is a physical change. The yolk of an egg, which contains sulfur, causes tarnish to form on silver. You've got a color change happening, and a chemical reaction is causing that chemical or that color to change. So you have a chemical change if the yolk of an egg tarnishes silver. Tarnished on silver, I would think of like rust on steel or metal. So that's going to be a chemical change. Ice on a lake melts to become water in the lake. You have a physical change. I guess I will fix that answer before I send this out to you. So ice on a lake melts. Ice is just the solid form of water and becomes water in the lake, which is the liquid form of water. That's a physical change. Charcoal in a fire turns to ash after several hours. Can we turn that charcoal, the ash from charcoal, back into charcoal? No, we certainly cannot. So if it's non-reversible, it's going to be a chemical change. A piece of cloth is cut up into tiny bits. This is a physical change because you cut it up into small pieces, but it's still a piece of cloth. Nothing new was formed. Dissolving sugar into coffee. This is a physical change because if we were to boil that coffee down, your sugar would form crystals again back in the bottom of your pan. The sugar crystals are not going to turn into anything else. It's still sugar. It's just a mixture because now you've put it in coffee. Burning coal. Anytime you burn anything, gases are being released, you've got colors changing. Burning something, cooking something is going to be a chemical change. Here we have mining coal. So when you mine coal, all they do is dig under the ground, get the coal out of the ground, and bring it up to the surface. It's still coal. It's not changing anything. It's not burning. They're just moving it. So you have a physical change. And last but not least, we have boiling an egg. Boiling an egg, let's see. So if you have a pot of water, you put it on the stove, make it boil, you put your egg in there. Your egg has changed in ways that can't be reversed now. Once you boil an egg, you can't get that egg back into a raw egg. So you have a chemical change, and you know that. Think whenever you see these things. Is it reversible? Boiling an egg is not reversible, so that's a chemical change. I hope this helps. Make sure you go up and check all of your answers. If you want to watch this video again, watch it again. Push pause, go back and forth, and change any of your answers that might be wrong to correct answers, okay? Y'all are amazing. Have a good day.